We go to 5306, also sponsored by Chairwoman Williams. It's an act related to domestic relations, adoption of children. It permits a petition for adoption. And if necessary, termination of parental rights to be filed by a grandparent without the non-custodial parent's consent when the child is in the sole custody of the grandparent.
This legislation is about keeping children with those that care for them and love them already, regardless if those people are the child's biological parents or not. This bill amends the Rhode Island general laws concerning the adoption of children. In particular, the amendment would allow grandparents who are in sole custody of their grandchildren to petition the courts for adoption without the non-custodial parent's consent. The standard of proof in these cases must give primary consideration to the physical, psychological, mental, and intellectual needs of the child. Also, the grandparents need not demonstrate, nor will the courts require, any efforts to encourage and strengthen the child's relationship with the non-custodial parent prior to the child's adoption. In order for the adoption to proceed, the child must be in care of the grandparents when the petition for adoption is filed. Individuals who choose to abandon their parental responsibility, they forfeit their legal parental rights. I am happy to sponsor this legislation for all of those grandparents who actually do care for those children who are in need of proper and loving parenting. As you know, in the drug epidemic, there are a lot of children that are born and neglected, and therefore grandparents step in, whether they want to or they don't. Many of those instances happen in the poor neighborhoods, and in particular, the neighborhoods of color. The grandparents start all over again. But unfortunately, the way our laws are on the books, they have no rights. Grandparents have absolutely no rights. This bill would give them the authority, because what happens is that grandparent is taking care of these children, some of them since birth, and they have no authority with them, and DCYF can come in and remove them at any given time. So this will enable them a fair shot. This bill has been, this is about year number 5, and there were some rich, privileged individuals who were having their issues with the wife or the husband kind of thing. So it was held up. It's a new day that has dawned because the gatekeepers are gone, and also because things have changed. It's a new day, and I'm going to call each and every one of them out if they want to block this, and that will go all the way to Judge Forts. If he wants to come for Mama, Mama is going to be ready. Okay? So it's the right thing to do, and we need to be able to take care of these children. If the grandparent has it, we have to empower the grandparents to have the rights of making decision for those children, legally and properly. And this bill will do that.
Well, if that fight ever takes place between you and Judge Fort, it'll be on HBO pay-per-view. Any questions for the sponsor? Oh, yes. Yes, Doc.
Chairwoman Williams.
Yes.
I like this bill, too. Didn't we pass this?
We did. We passed it.
Because I'm pretty sure we passed this.
But you know,
No,
I gotta say it. You know me. You know I gotta say it.
Wait a minute. I'm not looking to give you a forum to slice up any other chamber. but we did pass this.
Wait 1 second, baby.
See,
You
remember-
don't have to give me a forum.
No, but I'm reading this and I'm saying, I thought we passed this a few times, a couple of times.
Yeah, we
did.
did.
Okay.
We
All right.
brought
so
it.
this is nothing new.
This bill, no, it's not anything
Okay.
new. This bill went as far as the governor's desk, and she called me and told me, I can't sign it now. There's an issue. This way, it passed the Senate and the House and went to her.
Well, okay.
So
Well, let me
like I
just-
said,
let me just say-
privileged.
And let me just say this does not impact just people of color, but also not people of color.
Oh, honey, you see, you was listening, but didn't hear me.
No, I always listen to you and I hear you.
But
I've been here long enough to know.
privileged.
I've been here long enough to know to do both.
I said privileged individuals kept this bill from happening because they were having beef. Who's going to get what and who's going to... Listen, we are privileged in our own mind and right, but we're not privileged where we can pick up the phone and say, make sure that dies. Okay?
Boy, I wish I had that privilege.
Hello.
Chairman Craven,
Yes.
this is Representative Casimiro. I
Yes.
just wanted to congratulate Chairwoman Williams. She's put through some really great legislation tonight, and I'm hoping that it can really go somewhere this year, because it's really good stuff. And I appreciate all the work she does about the children who are in DCYF custody. So I just wanted to say thank you.
I know you've worked hard on that, Julie, and you've got another soldier in the fight here. Maybe this will be the year.
Hope so.
I know Julie Casimiro, representative from North Kingstown, is in charge of a new subcommittee that deals with just children and families and presumptively DCYF. So I'm sure there'll be some changes this year.
Honey, there's already good changes, baby. Yes.
All right, are there any other questions of the chairwoman? Seeing none, I'm sorry, go ahead. Do you have something, Anastasia?
That was Julie. That's
Oh, it was? Oh, okay. Yeah,
Representative Agello, I have a question, Mr. Chairman.
yes, please.
A question for the sponsor. Does family court have the option now of granting adoption rights to custodial grandparents or grandparents who are taking care of children? Can they overrule or go along with an adoption without the approval of this I guess I'm asking, can family court do this now, but it's just an option?
The family court can, if they so choose, but what Judge Fort had said to me, the judge before him, the chief judge was a woman, I can't remember her name. She was all for this, she supported it, and it was moving, and that's when it went before the governor's desk. Judge Fort came in and he said, if this bill passes, what happens, it becomes a financial burden to the state because the grandparent would need to go through the system in order for them to have the right, the parental right, grandparents' right. When I said to them, every poor person does not and should not have to go through DCYF system in order to take on their grandchild. They should not have to go through the system. So if they're coming to the court because they financially can take care of them and they can prove it, period. But he was saying they would need to go through the system. You don't need DCYF, as broken as it is, to be in your life if you don't have to. So, yes, the answer is yes, Representative Agello. They can, but he chooses not to.
Carol.
I'll just add to that. Definitely, you're right, Chairwoman Williams. But what they do is they involve DCYF in what's called a reunification plan, which they have to try and do with the children with the biological parents if the parents are not willing to terminate their own parental rights. So then you're pitting the grandparents against their own child in many cases, which is very difficult, but they have to go through the system to protect the biological parents. So the biological parents have a lot of rights, and until they've proven themselves to be unfit as parents, there's a constant attempt to reunite the child with the mother or the father, and that's where the difficulty comes. That's why they'd have to go through the system. Now, I'm not sure your bill actually changes that system, and maybe I need to read it more clearly, but there's always the option of the grandparents getting their own lawyer and trying to go that route. But this seems to give more of a right to the grandparents to proceed against a child who's just not stepping up to care for their own children. So I think it's a good bill. It would certainly help the situation, but it is a very tedious process, and you find in family court many times, especially if there's drugs involved, that the person will go to rehab and straighten themselves out, and then they give them another chance, and they start supervised visitation with the child, and then, they start to do better, and then they fall back again, and then the child is bounced around way too many times. So I think this is a great bill, Chairwoman Williams, and I'm happy to see you come forward with it.
I appreciate that, but please understand that one size does not fit all.
Oh, that's for sure.
In our situation, there are many grandparents of poor families and families of color who have been raising and have raised these grandchildren, and they have had it. And the actual parent, have signed off, have given up their rights. Mm-hmm. But by virtue of that one, because it only takes one of them, you don't have to have
Right.
both parents to sign off. One, that's not enough for the courts, but it should be enough.
Mm-hmm.
If this grandparent has had this child for 14 years,
That should be time enough, I would say.
right?
But,
And there are many cases that involve this situation, and they're being put against the one that you cited, the cases that you cited, that, they came back, they fell short or what have
Yep.
you, and you need to reunify the child with the parent because they slipped. No. The cases that we had been bringing forward are cases where from birth, for years, and no authority at all. So it's a difference where between then and now, there could have been a system in place to be able to say, well, yes, this case certainly warrants on that one.
Right.
And then you have the others that you definitely have to dissect and give them the opportunity of being reunified with the children and see if that works.
yes.
But nobody has taken the initiative to go that far. They have
Right.
just said, nope, it's not.
Well, this situation happens with foster parents all the time as well that are looking to adopt. So it is definitely with grandparents, and we've seen them come in over the years and trying to find more rights within the family court, especially when they're so tied to the child, and exactly the situation that you're talking about. We have it also with visitation rights, where the parent doesn't exercise and the grandparent tries to step into the shoes of the parent, which is all we have for them at this point. But thank you for bringing this forward. It's definitely an issue.
Thank you.
Any other questions of Chairwoman Williams? Okay, then that would conclude testimony on House Bill 5306, which